You are looking at the triple Qs on the 5-minute time frame. Here are your price targets for Tuesday. We ended the day at $538.17, up 1.44%. To the north side from where we are takes us to one level of resistance and a potential take profit area at 541.05. Above that at 3 standard deviations and another potential take profit area, 543.64. And above that, 546. To the south side, back at the middle of the trend, and the baseline takes us to 536.10. That blue line right there is VWAP at 536.65. I will mark out my line. If we go sideways, this is a potential area where we could chop around. To the south side of that, a gap forms to the south side, as I just mentioned, at 532.98. And below that, at another level of support, if we are up here and we hit this line could also turn into a support line and we could see a bounce off of that. But eventually, this will also close out at, 530.63, another support line. And below that, 528.60. And when I say support, it could also be a buy-in line as people buy the dip. 526.14. And looking left, you can see there was this gap that we went up. So I will anticipate it to fill to the downside whenever that happens. We have no idea. But right now we are in an upward channel. And then we have this gap that's also still in play. A landmine taking us down to roughly 520.60. And you can see there was a bounce here off of resistance all the way down to support, back up this right here, then turns into resistance. And then we were just grinding along. And this gap, I need to clean this up. It's been a while since I looked at the triple Qs. That took us, oops, no, that's right there. That took us down to roughly 522.43. And then obviously it went down even more. And this gap closed to the downside, no longer in play at 521.91. And we have this gap, this open wound right here, still in play as well, but moving farther away from this channel, not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close, just something to be aware of to the downside whenever we reverse. And then look at that. This is why it's important to go back and look at different levels. Again, we're not there. Just cleaning up my chart. Boy, it's been a really long time since I looked at this. This gap closed to the upside at roughly 508.23 on the 15th. It opened up and closed on the 22nd of November. So I will delete that. And as a matter of fact, as you can, oops, Command Z to redo what you just did. Darn it, it just is grabbing the wrong spot. Here, where was that? Okay, let's just put it back there. And I will redo that. Delete this. There, feel better already. And this is done. That closed on the 29th of November. This one needs to be cleaned up. Whenever I extend my gaps, I just let it go and then I release my finger and then I have to go back and clean it up. So clearly this touched and I never cleaned up the chart, and that took us down to 506.77, and that touched basically on the 27th. And this one is still open to the downside, as well as these other ones, but again, not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. We've been all over the place with the triple Qs. I'm going to show you what this looks like on the daily. And as you know, analysts do not give you price targets for ETFs. You got to figure that one out yourself, and it's not complicated. Oops, Option R to reset so you can see everything. Let me give you the price target on the daily. Where could we be headed? If you think we're going to continue to go up, which the chart shows us on the daily, we are still going up. Overall, making higher highs and higher lows. So the next channel could be 546.20. And then above that, 560. I don't even want to give you this number of 574.67 only because we're not even there, not close, don't expect it, but that is the potential area of resistance. But the next target I would be looking at is roughly 545, 546. And as you can see, all of these gaps that I just pointed out are still in play, but all of the other gaps have closed out. Yeah, you have to close them out on what I was doing, it was giving you support, the middle of the trend, and resistance a long time ago. So I really need to delete these. I'll do that later. But all of those targets have closed. All of these have closed. Now I'm going to flip this over to the weekly so you can see how we look on the weekly. And be aware that we are overextended on the daily. So get ready at some point for this to tank. Just like it did here and here. Anytime you hit this critical area of resistance, just expect it to fall down for another potential leg up later on, excuse me. Let me go to the weekly. All right, on the weekly, we are here. So that could take us to 545.56, and then above that, 589.73. And I have been tracking this. Well, maybe I caught it here on July 8th, 2022 at 295. And what are we at? 538.17. Note here, this is a clear line of support. What happens at support? People buy the dip. Yeah, could it have gone lower? It certainly could have, but it did go just a tad bit more. Sometimes you never hit this line, you come close enough, and then we ripped to close to the middle of the trend and then started to fall back down. And we went sideways and then another leg up. Now on the monthly, I guess at one time I put in the top holdings. All right. It hasn't really changed that much. I don't think it's even changed. I don't know if PayPal is the top 10. I'll have to look at that one. All right, here we are on the monthly. And on the monthly, that looks like in that range still of 574. But let's just take it to, this is 2025. I'm just going to mark something out for fun. This is 2026. I'm going to mark this also. Here's 2025. So we are here at the end of 2026, maybe up to 590 and obviously even higher, but that's just too far out for me to even say. I like to go back to the daily, and obviously that's, gonna give you a different window here. So that's January the 2nd to January the 2nd of 2026. And the outer band could take us to roughly almost 700. But conservatively, if we continue to go up, maybe in the 640s, just taking us to the middle of the trend, and that's it. Okay, I'm done. Let's go back to the 5 minute, go to the next one. Oh, and by the way, we hit a 52-week high and the daily high today at 539.15-ish, right about, right there. So congratulations if you made some money off of the triple Qs. The next one I want to go over is, I'm going to do SPY really quick, just very quickly, because I want to clean up the chart, because I just did this one on, I guess I did it on Thursday night, the 12th. So I talked about this gap, and we touched right there today. So this gap to the upside is no longer in play. So congrats if you've made some money off of that. That was 607.28 is what I called out. And we ended at 607.78. Went higher, just a tick higher than I projected just with that gap. All right, and what's happening with this one? This gap to the downside did not touch. So this gap to the downside will threaten our accounts and take us down to 602.68 roughly. And that lines up with -2 standard deviations. And if we hit that, I will anticipate a bounce off of that line. And then obviously it could go even lower, which makes sense because there's this gap to deal with as well. But let me give you some price targets and move on, only because I just did this one. All right, there we go. So your target is now going to be roughly 608.41 on Tuesday. The outer band takes us to 609.85, and should we be so lucky as to get to this level, do not hold your breath, 611.23. VWAP in the blue, 606.83. Now the middle of the trend takes us to roughly, right there, and that lines up with this gap that we should tickle on Tuesday and then close out maybe on Tuesday as well. That is within the range here if we continue to go south. And on the 5 right now, SPY is going south, but this RSI has just started to bounce, so we could touch and then go up. And then we've got a gap within a gap. This one will take us down to 604.48. I'll just mark it right now. $604.52 is what I, 604.52, excuse me, 52. And then this one, 598.81. And again, we're going south, so does it look like maybe we'll just retrace going up here and then slowly making our way down and closing out this gap and maybe that one and then maybe that one? We shall see. But that is the potential for the reversal. Oh, what happened here? I need to clean this one up. So this went up after we went down. We retraced and then closed this out at 579.28. Delete, no longer in play. Anytime I delete the price label, that means I'm no longer tracking that gap. All right, that's the 5 minute time frame. All right, next one is going to be, let's do Tesla. Let's do AVGO first. I'll keep this straight now. Okay, option R to reset. So we ended the day right on the money at 250. AVGO. I'm like Tesla. No, this is AVGO. And right above that, 251.53, 272.32, 282.53, and don't hold your breath, 292.37. 231.29, 220.71, and then this gap at 211.05-ish. That's the beginning of that gap. We ran up another 11%. This thing is just trucking. Fact of the day, Goldman Sachs raised its price target on Broadcom to 240. Driving shares up 10% with over 66 million traded. Barclays also lifted its target to 205, adding to a 2% pre-market gain. Obviously, they did not project it high enough. We made it to 250. So congrats on that. And keep in mind this gap to the downside. And this gap and this gap and this gap. But right now, look how strong we are going up on the 5. And with today's run up, let me just go over to the daily really quickly so I can see this better. Option R. So apparently I've been tracking this when it was the end of the day was 137. Wherever you see this black price label, that's when I actually did a video on it. I may have deleted the video by now, but I did do a video. All right, when Murat told me about this one, which I just talked about, I just want to show you how much it has run after today's run up. So we ended the day at 250 straight on. 250. And then he told me the price. Oh, wait, is that right? Oh, here. 263. Wait a minute. I gotta change this. 163.90. I'm just gonna be a little bit more precise. 250. So that is a return of 52% since he called it. And he talked about that on Friday the 22nd. Well, that's when I made a video, I think. But he may have sent me a message earlier than that. But still, 52%. That is fantastic. And make sure you flip it over to the weekly, see we're overextended, and the monthly to help you decide when you need to get off the gravy train if you're not doing long-term investing. If you're just getting in, getting up, getting out, look at this. It's not going to stay up without consolidating, basing, going sideways. Just expect it. Support, resistance. Resistance, support. Okay? Don't make it complicated. But if you are the type of person, you set it and forget it, that's a different strategy. It depends on what you're trying to do. Now, let's do Tesla only because it ran like crazy today too. Well, from the previous day. Made another high. I'm going to take this back to the 5-minute. This is in my gap and go video, but just because it ran today, I'm going to quickly take a look at it. 463.02. What you want to do is put your finger on this and then just hit the arrow key, and then it'll take it down very quickly. The numbers up 6.14%. Fact of the day, Tesla played a key role in boosting the NASDAQ, which hit a new intraday record high, underscoring its position as a major player in the tech and consumer discretionary sectors. It has been unburdened by what has been, basically the Biden administration. Goodbye, adios. Thank the Lord, we are in the rearview mirror with that, and we can hit our potential. And that potential is to the upside. We're looking at 469.11, 472.50, and 482.60. The price target on the 9th when I looked at it was 472. And on the 9th, when I looked at it, we basically were, I don't know, right here, oh no, right there roughly. Oh, 389.79 when I looked at it and made that line, drew that line, I should say. All right, to the south side, VWAP, 452.66. Notice how VWAP is always typically within that -2 and 2 standard deviations. It's another grid. So when you're playing the linear, how I do it, I set it wider so that you can kind of see like from here, this is a level of support, this is support. 450 is where trader JD thought that I should potentially sell out. So I drew out the line for myself. And that was also a target. And we ripped through that. So that's awesome. Now to the south side, 442.21 and 435.26 and 428.31. And we are in an upward channel, as you can see. And there's this gap to the downside, but we are not in the channel, not in the zone, and at this point, not even close. I've cleaned those gaps. Well, those are open sores down there, but right now we're not worried about that. So I got lazy and I did not set my sell limit. I never sell during the market. I usually set a limit the night before because I don't have time to track it. And I'm glad I didn't, because really in my mind, after Nate said that, I thought, okay, I'll hang on to my shares. I'll wait for this. Not Nate, I'm sorry, JD. And Nate also made a comment about that. So it did weigh on my mind what to do. But since both of them and Marat has thought that this ticker will go higher, I thought I'll just hang on to it. So Nate said again to forerun, the price, or just hold it if you're trying to do some tax harvesting, which I'm not trying. Well, I should maybe do that, but I'm not. That's not how I trade. I just want to maximize my profits. But sometimes I get chicken and get off the gravy train too early. But basically at 4 standard deviations, again, that will take us to 482.15-ish. Okay, to the south side, 441.89, 434.95, 428.16. And on the daily, now these are all the videos I made for the gap and goes. Oh yeah, I'm no longer tracking this for my gap and go video since it hit the gap that I originally was tracking. All right, so see how my linear does not give me any more legs to the upside because I only set it for up to 4 standard deviations because in general on those lower time frames you're not going to get there. So what you can do is, for instance, if you want to figure this out yourself, so here is the 16th, here's the 17th. This is the end of the week. Oops, delete that. So on the monthly, yeah, this is hard to see this. See, if you follow this line, it's not really going, it's not recalculating that much higher. So let's just take this. Let me see something. There, here's the weekly. It'll show you more. So the next target on the weekly could be 530, and then the outer band up to 650. Should we be so lucky, but don't hold your breath just yet. But I really would like to dump out of here in the 600s. So maybe I shall sell some of my higher lots, the cost of the shares at the higher lot level, get rid of that, and then keep the ones that I bought in the 112, 130 range, and then just keep those forever. It's like Netflix. I kind of kick myself because I got out for my mom making a profit in the 350s or so after holding it a very long time. And then, of course, after I dump it, it rips into the 600s, and I don't want that to happen to me with Tesla. I'd like to ride out some of the shares, some of the lots. All right, I'm done with that. The next one, I have to write this down. I'll never remember. Oh, while I'm on here with this Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, the watch list, CVS tanked again. And this is on my watch list. Change that. Okay, 4660 is where we ended. The middle of the trend is at 47. VWAP is at 47.50. 48. The upper band is 48.28. 48.47. And don't hold your breath, 48.97 to the south side. 46.08. 45.54 and 45.07. Look at the bounce here at support, running up to resistance and falling down and sideways, but we hit another level of resistance here, fell down. So this could, even though we're in a downward channel, the potential to go up is there and then go right back down. This is turning south. But when I talked about it, I added this into my watch list. I'm compiling 20 tickers for 2025. And yes, this is still high, even though I put it in my watch list. But if you look at it on the monthly, that is the buy and sell signal for me. Even though I put this in the watch list, doesn't mean I'm going to buy it. I'm watching it. And look at this. It did tank. So now I'm going to flip this to the monthly. What does the RSI tell me? The RSI tells me this thing is still going down. Okay, so this is not a buy for me. I like to buy at least, well, I used to say 40, but that's because I was making it the range wider, but really, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm trying to wait and be patient to hit this line. Sometimes it never hits, but that is when I will start buying in. Now, this is close enough, way better than that $50 range that I tracked it at. And let me show you. The lowest the RSI has been is at 26 on the monthly. So there could still be some more downward action close to this line. We might not get to it and then start reversing. And these lines, I think, are from a different time frame, but I'll just delete that now. Again, this is support, resistance. And what else? I'm going to do next Ibit. Okay, what is this on the, this is a look at Ibit on the monthly. I'm not going to give you the price target there. I'd have to redo my calculations. I'm not going to do that on the daily either, but note the RSI, be careful. Let's just go to the 5, option R. Trader Marat pointed this out to me. So from when he pointed out, we got up to resistance, straddling the line, falling back down to support, a buy-in, busting through resistance, climbing up, and then falling back down, and then always at some point touching this line. Remember, price likes to slice through this middle of the trend. It has to slice through to get to the bottom, or slice this line to get to the upside. So now from up here, down here, this is support, so I will possibly anticipate it to go up, but right now look at the RSI telling us it's still going down, so it's going to go down and then possibly reverse. So we could go down a little bit more and then reverse. So keep that in mind. 60.22. Whoops, gosh darn it. Oops. IBIT. Done. 61.21. I meant to do 22. Okay. VWAP 60.55. The outer band 62.11. 63.03. Don't hold your breath for one day. it most likely will not get there. And if it does, people will take their profits and they will run, they will lock in, and they will leave. And you can bet they will. 63.94. And then, where is my, oh, here it is. $58.46, $57.53, $56.60. This gap takes us to the south side at roughly $54.95-ish. But we are in an upward channel, moving farther away from that. And then we have this gap to deal with also. And that takes us to 52.06. And we hit a record high of 61.41, well, 52-week high, and then the daily high today as well. So congrats if you made some money off of that. Now I'm going to show you the corresponding ticker, USD. And here's the 5-minute, but because it changes so fast, here is a target. 108.13, well, to the middle of the trend, 106.59, and to the south side, 105.33. Let's go to the daily. That's where I'm going to mark it because this is a moving target since it's open. All right. So we've hit this line that Trader Murat anticipated we get to at 95,000. All right, so that's done. So here we are to the north side, 108.43. This is the middle of the trend, I think. Well, no. Did I mark that as the middle of the trend at one point? No, I think what that was is I used to mark out the middle, the upper channel, and the lower channel. So yeah, so that is an upper channel that I marked out. That was not the middle of the trend. 118.475 to the north side. And for, what is this? Where is December in the bottom? There we go. All right, so this is December. Let me show you January. Will January appear? I guess this would be it. There. Okay, so this is January 1. Let me just mark out January 1. And this is where we are now. So that lines up where I previously marked it, all right? And then above that, 119.575. If we continue to go up. And on the daily, it looks like we are. And we hit, well, the 52-week high was 107.821. And today's high is right now 106.607. And let me just show you on the monthly so you can get a big picture of where we've been. What happened here? So April, we were at 39,000, 37,000, 16,000, 18,000, and then 22,000 when I looked at this. What year was that? I didn't even mark out the year. I'll have to go back and see. Was that this year? I don't know. I've tracked this so many times. The RSI overextended. All right, so watch out for that. The highest we've ever gotten was there. Okay, and this is the monthly again. Let me just go back. Yeah, all right, just wanted to see something. But the middle of the trend is actually right here. So that's 79,639. All right, one other one I want to go over. Oh, is a trade I am thinking about getting out of. But I want to do one thing on Ibit because now I want to mark out something while I'm thinking about it. So when Murat talked about price, I have to move this out of the way. And I gotta get rid of that magnet. Oh, here, this is not, I don't like this. Okay, that was the price roughly when he talked about it. And the high there is a 9% return, and today's high is 3.99%. But if you had possibly gotten in, tracked it, you know, he's just calling this out. He's not saying that this is the time to buy in. He's just making me aware of it so that I can track it. So if you had caught it at this level, that is a return of 14%. Very nice. So on the 5 minute, again, we're going upward. Now the one I want to go over, and the last one, is BlackBerry. Okay, here's the 5 minute time frame. Let's do this. All right, 309. The upper band takes us to 314, but this is what I track at 2 standard deviations, 324, 336. I marked this as a potential sell area. I've changed it 2 times today. I've increased it throughout the day as I take a look at it, and then the projections change because we keep going up. So that is 349. So now I'm going to go online after I post this and change my sell limit. Maybe it says 349, but I like to work in the kind of the even numbers if I can. So I will take it to 350. From here to there, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to get there on Tuesday. If it doesn't, oh well, I'll just keep the shares that I have. It's fine. But should we wick up there, I do want to get out. And then I want to buy back down here. But right now I bought the shares at 262. If I can get to my target, that will be a return of roughly 33%. But right now I am up roughly 17%. And today, in one day, we're up 14%. So that's pretty good. 14% is not too shabby. And then we have this gap that was created from today, a run up on good news. Okay. Oh, it's not good news. I think it's because we're going to be hitting earnings in a few days. I don't know when you'll be watching this, but right as of today, it's 3 days, but it could be 2 when you see this video, or not. Could be 1, I don't know, or not at all. You might not even see it. But just be aware that this ticker has been going sideways and making small leg ups. It's hopefully going to hit the 1-year price target of $3.48. Oh, look at that. I'm not an analyst. I didn't even know what the price target was. And voila, $3.48, which represents another 12.47% return. And I marked it out for myself at 350, but I'm going to do one thing. And Friday is right. What's going on? Oh, here it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Monday. Nope, I want to hit it right here. All right, if we have good news for crackberry, the middle of the trend by the end of the week, if we continue to go up in the pattern that we are right now, that could take us to 335. Then the upper channel could take us to 359. So even though I've got it marked here at 350, that could be 359, 360. That could take us to, at the end of the week, 371, 385. I hope this thing rages on good news. That would be amazing. And let's just take this to the daily. Oh, I have traded this in the past. I apparently sold it at 430. This thing cracked. Dangerous, dangerous. And we've got a ticker that a gap that takes us up to 473, which I need to mark out. And here's a target. Oh, look at this. I need to clean this up. So this touched right here, but I marked this out on the 5-minute and I'm cleaning this up on the daily. It's not going to line up. So you'll want to make sure you clean your chart up on the time frame that you play in. It just looks cleaner. This will just give you a rough estimate. This is done. See, I had that in green and never. Oh yeah, that's because it's to the upside. Duh. 354 touched on May 14th. God, I haven't gone back and looked at this in such a long time because this thing was painful to watch. We were bleeding out. And as a matter of fact, I had one guy, a trader, make a comment that this was a junk ticker. Well, yeah, but it doesn't mean you can't make money off of it. Is this long-term investing for me? No. Am I playing around? Yeah. 409, all right, here. And what is this? Oh, I sold at 430 at one point. There's a gap here. We're all over the place. But right now on the daily, we are going down. So watch out. We are at resistance. We are at a critical point. Make sure you take a look at those things. But we've got room to go to the upside. We're right here. Let me just delete this now. Room to breathe without tanking for longer term investing maybe, or just letting it ride. Pick your poison. But always set your stop loss if you cannot afford to weather the storm, or you just want to preserve your capital, or this thing shakes you up because there's bad news. All kinds of things could happen, and you want to protect your money if that's the case. Okay, really, I am done now. That is a look at a gazillion tickers: SPY, QQQs, Tesla, Ibit, BTC, BB, CVS, AVGO. And that does it for me. Have a great trading day.